This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. MEI and Mousefan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner and the recommended travel partner of All Ears Net. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees, so to get a no-obligation quote, just visit www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, September 12th, 2007, and this is episode 308 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hotchford from www.mgmstudios.org. On the show today, we have Len Testa of superfluffybunny.com. Welcome, Len.
That's superfluffybunny.com. Thanks, Matt. How's it going?
Outstanding. And
only we had a logo for that website.
Oh, we do. Did you check it out?
I saw the image of.
Don't wreck it for the listeners. They have to check it out on their own.
All right. Superfluffybunny.com.
The newest invention by the great people at touringplans.com. Also here is Mike Scopa of mouseplanet.com and All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
And I must say that superfluffybunny.com is bully beautiful.
American
Adventure, yeah.
That's right.
And also here is Mike Newell of mouseworldradio.com. Welcome, Mike.
How come it's not www.mouseworldradio.com?
You can also access Mouse World Radio at www.mouseworldradio.com.
You didn't say the secret word.
The magic word.
Magic word. Oh, damn it.
Where's the car crash? It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions, and the first one is from Joe Carvalho of Danvers, Massachusetts. Writes, hi, guys. 2 questions that are sort of related. When do annual pass holder room-only discounts for the month of October normally get announced? Probably a long time ago. I need a
When was this email sent?
July. I'm thinking July.
90 days.
Here's a question for Newell. Do DVC members get a similar discount when booking rooms at DVC resorts? I'm a DVC member, but I've used up all my points for this year, and I don't want to borrow from next year. In other words, can I get a discount for booking a room at a DVC resort using real money instead of points?
Yeah, if you're an AP holder, can you get rooms at Saratoga Springs? We know
there's
that,
no,
right?
Are there any discounts at any non-DVC resorts available to DVC members?
I've never stayed at a non-DVC...
Say it again?
Yeah.
Wait, say it again?
Are there any discounts at any non-DVC resort available to DVC members?
I mean, they can book a regular room like everyone else.
Yeah, but there's no special discount for DVC members for other...
No.
Nope.
AP discount's probably the best discount that he's going to get.
Great. Appreciate all your help. I was thinking about sending this question to Lou Mangello, but with my luck, he'd cover it in the 3rd hour of a show when I'm fast asleep.
Yeah, so we wait 8 months before...
That's right. It's better. At least he's awake to hear ours.
But Lou still gets mentioned on our show, so he wins.
Yeah, jerk.
www.wdwradio.com.
Next email is from John from Rhode Island. He writes, hi, guys. I love the banner, inside jokes, and sarcasm that are the staple of your podcast. I want to know what other podcasts you listen to and would suggest. You don't have to mention Lou's show, Enter Swooning, even though Matt has become a bigger fan since Deanna promised to ride Dinosaur and hold him ever so closely.
Regarding that question, I refuse to answer because I may forget one or two that I perhaps listen to, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I listen to our show.
I listen to besides I only listen to Lou's show for legal reasons. I just got to jot down the insults so that when Lou sues us, I can countersue him. But the other shows I listen to Mouse Guest Weekly, and I listen to the Netcot podcast. Newell, do you listen to other ones?
I listen to Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Ooh, that is a good one. I do listen to that. I thought you meant Disney-only podcast, but yes.
No, I listen to Leo constantly.
Next email is from...
Oh, Matt, I don't listen to any other podcasts.
Oh, yeah, Len. he's...
I'm sorry, Len, he thought you were getting a haircut at the beach.
My mistake.
Wow, that's bad. He forgot you were here.
Wow.
Man, that hurts. All right.
So what do you listen to, Len?
Nothing.
Nothing?
The Van Halen there's no Van Halen podcast out there?
No, I'm going to see the whole band. I don't need a...
Called Running with the Devil?
Exactly, that'd be great.
Next
Story of my life.
I think we should start one.
That's why he's going to those... Oh, never mind.
Next email is Gerard Moon of Sydney, Australia, who writes, I love your show and the way it keeps me going so far from any Disney park. I'm coming to Mousefest this year, and I'm staying at Scopa Towers. That's what
awesome.
That's what it is known as in this part of the world. It'll be my 5th visit to Walt Disney World, but I've never been this late in the year. I go between September and late October usually. My question is, how cold does it get there at this time of year? The tricky part is, I need the answer in Celsius. All right, Mensa boy.
Oh, jeez.
Mensa boy, now he remembers you.
It's going to be Celsius. Hold on.
Well, what's the temperature in Fahrenheit to the rest of the world? I mean, it varies.
Okay, so the coldest I've ever seen it would be
Last
low
year.
Last
40s.
Mousefest. Nice,
like
Noel.
low 40s. Low 40s in Fahrenheit. So what do you multiply by 3.14? Wait, hold on.
40s are like, that's like 10, not even 10,
Yeah,
it's
10.
like 5 to 10 degrees Celsius.
I mean, yeah, and it's not gonna. Yeah, I've seen lows. Yeah, fairly low.
I mean, the year before that, in 2005, I guess it was. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I remember it being seasonal. I mean, it was probably that's 12, 15 degrees Celsius, give or take, not even. Certainly, you need warm clothing in the
night.
morning and at night.
Well, we froze at the eliminations last year.
Oh yeah.
It's about 15,
Oh,
it's about
man.
15
Friday night,
Celsius.
yeah.
14. So yeah, in the teens in Celsius. I think is the coldest it's going to be.
Yeah. Next
It
email
was
is from
cold. I mean, it was painful.
Scopa. Still wears shorts though.
Yeah.
So did I.
But if you had his legs, you would too.
That reminds me, I got to shave.
Colin Carroll of Hershey, Pennsylvania writes, my question involves the Disney Vacation Club. All right, get ready, Newell. I'm trying to justify this becoming a member, but can't seem to find a good reason to invest in this. I have a family of 5 and visit Walt Disney World once a year. We typically stay at Port Orleans, as that is the most cost-effective resort for a family of 5. We spend most of the time at the park. Staying at the deluxe resort is not important to us, as we're mostly just there to sleep. Is there a DVC worthwhile investment given my touring habits? Or am I better off just purchasing a package every year?
I know.
Family of 5 that goes once a year.
Well, the other thing, Newell, to consider, I think, maybe Colin should look at what the prices are for DVC through a vendor like DVC by Resale.
You're probably going to get a better deal through DVC by resale than you are through Disney.
Yeah,
And you
probably
can-
not worth it getting his own membership.
Yeah. You can get.
And I'm sure you know the next question. The answer, rather, Newell. Do you get any discounts on park passes as a DVC member?
Annual passes, you get a nice discount.
Yep.
There you go.
You're talking almost, if not $100 off on an AP. I think my AP. Hold on, I just renewed an AP this previous year, just this past week, and it was
Why don't you check your American Express bill? Ding!
it was an AP through a DVC discount was $370.62.
There you go. So do the math. Next email is from Missy in Minnesota, who writes, our family is going to Walt Disney World soon, and we're staying at Port Orleans French Quarter. We've been debating using Magical Express or getting a rental car. We're currently have a mid-sized book through National's Emerald Isle. Our dilemma is that we really don't need the rental car. We plan on visiting only the Disney parks, we don't need to stop at the grocery store, and we're not planning on shopping or eating off-site. The only reason we need a car is to attend Mass on Sunday. We're planning on attending Mary, Queen of the Universe Shrine off of Vineland. So the question is, should we use Magical Express and use a cab to get to Mass, or would we really benefit that much more in keeping the rental car?
Well, since Len is in the most holy state of all of us tonight, I think Len should answer that question.
just coming from church. I think you. There's a slight benefit to driving to Epcot, the Animal Kingdom, and the studios because it's going to be faster than Disney transportation, and you're probably looking at I'm guessing like a $20 cab ride, $15 cab ride
But I'd say about 20. I'd put it at least.
Yeah, at least 20 minutes.
each way.
One way.
One way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So depending on what your rate was at National, I would say if how many people are going? How many people in the family?
5.
5.
I need a mid-sized car. You might want to check budget or dollar and see what you could get.
It
with,
really depends. I would say, Len, it really depends on the rate. If your rate, if it's going to be a little more, it is going to be a little more. But I mean, it depends how much more it is going to be versus the cab. And obviously, you got to keep also in mind you got to refill the car after. I like Magical Express, especially if you're coming. The only reason I say a rental car is really worth it is to avoid Magical Express on the way back, because I hate having to be on Magical Express 3 hours before your flight. You're at the airport ridiculously early. It annoys me.
Yeah.
But I am a fan of.
Yeah. I guess. That's fine. You probably wouldn't end up saving money by. I'm just thinking in terms of convenience, the time is worth a certain amount of money.
Well, let me add something to that. What Matt just said about you're leaving was it 3 or 3.5 hours before your flight. What you're talking about is time, and when you're talking about car versus cab, car versus Walt Disney World transportation, then you have to say, okay, so how much value do I put on my time? Because it's obvious that if you do rent a car, that you do save time getting from point to point. Whereas if you're using Walt Disney World transportation, you have to allow for a certain amount of time. So, I mean, those are the things you have to weigh when considering using public transportation, renting a taxi to go to Mass, or, renting your own car.
Great point. Next email is from Cousin Michael, who writes, Hi, thank you for your informative shows in which you help guests make decisions and thus make life easier for both guests and cast members. My favorites are...
Are you still reading mail from our show?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. I don't remember those episodes, but
okay, whatever. We must have screwed something up there. Okay.
This must be from a letter from the future.
My favorites are about dining, as the issue seems to be one of the most confusing to guests and yet most important for survival. However, as one of the family members at Mom's house at the 50s Primetime Cafe, I'd like to add that you forgot to mention something important. You were correct in saying that if one wants to start eating as early as 6:35, one should probably arrive at least 15 minutes before the 6:35 reservation. However, I think it's important to add that if one wants to wait as little as possible, arriving early actually has an adverse effect. I often have guests check in 20 or 30 or God forbid 60 minutes early, hoping to be seated earlier on time. In reality, this almost always causes them an additional 20 to 30 to 60 minute wait. Whenever I book a meal for a guest, I suggest arriving exactly on time to avoid unnecessary waiting. I compare this to the time as Star Tours when guests would arrive a half hour early for a fast pass and then proceed to stand there in the hot sun for half hour instead of enjoying their vacations. On the other hand, if a guest absolutely has to be there at a certain time for the Indiana Jones show at a certain time, then yes, be a little early. But this is rarely the case. P.S. We didn't hear from you this Father's Day, Mike. Would it have killed you to give your poor father a call? I don't think a 2-cent stamp on postcard would have put you all in the poorhouse this last Mother's Day either.
That's classic.
Very nice. So I guess from that cast member, the tip is to arrive on time. Maybe a little before that, but...
15 minutes.
Next email is from Joe Nocella, who writes, Hi, just listened to your question about why there is no DVC at Disneyland. Though it is not officially announced, Disney's planning a DVC at the Grand Californian Hotel and has already plotted out the land. If people are familiar with the Grand Californian, the area that his DVC is going to be built is the wedding area. I have heard that announcement is about a year away. Next email is from Derek from Lincoln, Nebraska, who writes, My question is, can the Disney dining experience be applied toward the candlelight processional dinner package for 2007? My family and I will be traveling to Walt Disney World from November 17th through November 27th. We're planning on getting the candlelight dinner package for Saturday, November 24th. Guys, can you use the Disney dining experience towards the candlelight package?
That's a good question.
I'm going to say no.
I don't remember last year because I didn't go to it.
I did it 2 years ago. It was the last time I did the candlelight processional. Dinner package. I don't remember if I was able to use it or not, but we'll do some checking and we'll post it in the show notes.
Yes, you can.
It is?
Yes.
It's not very convincing.
No, I'm going to say just a quick Google on it, and every one of the top searches said it's possible. Yes.
Okay.
Great. So there you go. Also, Derek attending. I think we always recommend the late one, or is that just me?
It's you.
Oh, I like the late one, Derek. What do you like, Mike?
Scopa likes the first one.
I like the first one because
you're old and it's a Rolly Board special.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue with whatever you were going to say.
The reason why I like the early one is that if I'm going to be at Epcot for the Candlelight Processional, I'm also going to be there for the Illuminations. And if I'm going to be there for Illuminations, I want to get a good spot. And if I go to the late show, all the good spots are taken. Because the late show gets out, I think, about 15 or 20 minutes before Illuminations begins. I would guess at least within 30 minutes of Illumination. So why take a shot at missing a good spot?
There you go. Next email's from Darren Whitco of Middlebury, Connecticut. It's, Hi, Matt. Love the show. On episode 272, a listener emailed you as the name of the song played on Kilimanjaro Safari. As far as I can tell, it's called Kilimanjaro Radio. and you can find it at mousegeeks.com. By the way, I enjoyed the Stacy interview. It was very funny when you mentioned that you liked the previous girl better. Me too. But then I like Lou Mangello better than you, so what do I know? Thanks for the great show. Can't wait for the next one. Jerk.
Zing.
Next email. Just kidding. Next email is from Dan Heaton of St. Louis, Missouri, who writes, Hi, I'm a regular listener for the podcast, but this is my first question for the show. My wife and I are planning to spend a week at the World in late January or early February 2008, and probably will stay at Scopa Towers. I have 2 questions for you. We'd like to go with the week that would have the least crowds. Do you have any suggestions on which week would be optimal? We'd like to avoid any big conferences, races, etc. Len?
What were the days again?
Late January, early February. For those dates, while Len pulls up the data for that, I will say in my experience, you just want to avoid the week that has Super Bowl weekend. Other than that, I never really found anything that was...
Super Bowl weekend next year in 2008 is not going to be bad.
Why? Because the Steelers aren't going to make it this year?
Because it's not in Tampa like in 2009. Actually the last week of January, starting on the 27th, which is a Sunday, looks to be very, very low. There's one day there with a 3 in the crowd rating, and nothing above a 5.
Wow, a 3?
A 3, yeah.
Wow.
So I would say that would probably be the.
I didn't think 3s actually existed. They were like a myth, like Scopa's original hip or something.
There's definitely some. There's some in December too, I think, coming up.
Wow. Dan also wants to know, we're planning on attending several days at the other big Orlando attractions since we've never visited there as adults. I read in the unofficial guide that Mears offered a shuttle service from Disney Resort to Universal. Is this very convenient, or should we just rent a car?
Rent a car. You mean you want to come and go as you please, especially from Universal.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you don't want to rely on a shuttle because it could come twice a day or whatever. Just rent the car. Plus, the car has so many other benefits too.
Exactly. Next email is from Heather in Memphis, who writes, I listened to your fairly recent podcast on suggestions for the first day at Walt Disney World, which I enjoyed as usual, and I have a question on the other end of the spectrum. We're flying out of Orlando at 1:30 p.m. in the end of our upcoming trip to Walt Disney World and using Magical Express. I know we will need to go to the airport about 3 hours before our flight, so I'm not sure what to do that morning. I hate the thought of waking up and leaving a resort with no fanfare. It will be just too depressing. Any suggestions for a last hurrah?
Breakfast at Spoodles.
Good suggestion.
I'm sorry, just what I do.
What do you? Have you had breakfast at Spoodles, Len?
Yes, I've had breakfast. That's why I said it.
I don't mind not doing anything. I like sleeping in, first of all, because it'll probably be the first day and the only day of the trip I'll be able to sleep in. And after a couple days of waking up early and going to sleep late at those and walking around all day, it feels so good to be able just to sleep in and not have to set up that 7 a.m. wake up call.
I like to get out early. Get out of there. Because it's a lot more difficult leaving during the day than getting up and just taking off.
All right.
That's me.
No, we usually have a really early flight. Do you just go to there, or do you do anything in that morning?
Nah, there's nothing open when I leave. I usually, if I get a 7:30 flight and I have to be at the airport at 5:30, 5:45, usually I'm up and out and gone. It's still dark when I leave.
The earliest I've ever left at Disney Resort was 2:30 in the morning.
Ooh.
And that was to make a 5 a.m. flight.
Wow.
And it was one of those where you get in like at midnight. And you have to leave at 2:30. I literally slept for an hour. It was painful.
That would be Newell's ideal flight.
That's painful.
5 a.m. flight.
Leave that early?
It hurt.
Next email is from Carol, better known as CAC5519. Hoorah!
Oh, yes.
Right. Thank you, guys. You took my time to answer my question on air, and I am thrilled. Len, I know you're not crazy about the Wilderness Lodge, but it's my sister's favorite resort, plus it's her 50th birthday, and I want to make it that much more memorable as I can. As they say, you guys rock. Thanks again. And I won't mention the holiday that they mentioned in here because it'll date this email quite a bit.
Easter.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Next email is from Stephanie Digman of Hazel Green, Wisconsin, who writes, Hi, we're arriving December 18th through the 26th, staying at Port Orleans, 6 of us, 4 kids, and 2 adults. We're going to Animal Kingdom and plan to go to the BBB Boutique.
Bibbidi Boo.
In Magic Kingdom. Should we do bus or taxi, and what time should we leave the park there for a 4 o'clock appointment? After that, we're going to Grand Floridian for dinner at 1900 Park Fair.
So I wouldn't take the taxi if you're coming from Port Orleans.
No, Animal Kingdom first.
Animal Kingdom to the Magic Kingdom.
Yep, and then they've got dinner after at Grand Floridian.
I'd be. I don't know if I would leave any later than an hour and 15 minutes before your reservation.
Okay.
I'd be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you think an hour?
Well,
I think an hour might be cutting it close. What
to do bus or taxi?
Bus. I wouldn't take a taxi.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, an hour is probably good. You want to be there in advance, and trust me, you'll be done.
Okay, so let me segue here a little bit though. So speaking of the taxi, have you guys ever tried this? So this last trip when I went with Hannah, we saw Illuminations. We were leaving Epcot one night, but we walked all the way around World Showcase when it was done, and then rather than waiting for the monorail or waiting for we were staying at the Contemporary, so there was no resort bus. Rather than waiting for the monorail, we walked over to where the resort buses were, and we took a cab home. And it was like $10 to get to the Contemporary from Epcot. But we waited in no lines. We were there in literally 9 minutes. It was great. Have you guys ever done that?
I've done that when I've stayed off site. I've never taken the cab while staying on site.
Oh my god, it was great. It was do I want to
with tip?
It was like it was like $8 it was $8 I think for the fare and then $2 tip. Okay. But it was fabulous. Everyone was, I was exhausted. Hannah was exhausted. And the monorail line was stretching all the way down the ramp. Like we wouldn't make it'd be three or four monorails till we got there. I was like, let's just take the cab, and we did. It was a great decision.
Stephanie also wants to know, we only book 3 breakfasts, and every day is an ADR meal. Do I need to book some lunches as well to get a meal?
Nah, it's too much structure. You're going to want to wing it there. So
yeah,
leave lunch and dinner to do stuff.
I would agree with that one.
That's my opinion, yeah.
I think there's a point where you have too much, like you said, too much structure. You're
overscheduling.
Yeah. Next email is from Frank Jones of Buffalo, New York. I have a couple questions for you guys. I just took my family to Disney World for a week and stayed at Scopa Towers and loved every minute of it. My question is, how do you guys get over the post-vacation syndrome? I feel like my wife just left me. I have, I guess, 3 words for you. Newell can correct me. Mouse World Radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it 2 words or 3 words, Mike?
It's really 3, but I put Mouse World as 1 word. So
there you go. Oh, okay. I didn't even see your cue over there in the.
I was typing it as you said it.
Just going on the Disney World websites, listening to podcasts, whether it be ours or someone else, I think that just makes you feel better because you're back in the swing of things. You're talking about those same things again. So I think that might do it for you.
I was going to say, planning a next trip is also really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Nothing gets over, just like, if your wife left you, nothing gets you over the last one like the next one. My second question is, while in the queue admission space, I noticed a lounging area up on what would be the second floor. What is this area? Is this part of the queue, Scopa?
That is the HP lounge that is open to HP employees. And when you go upstairs, I don't know if I've ever brought Len up there, but a couple of friends up there. Did I bring you up there, Len?
Yeah.
We go up there and
said I was the only one.
Oh, the only one. Well, you go up the stairs, and there are some hostesses there.
Right now,
and you sign in. There's like a nice little area there where they offer you drinks, non-alcoholic, and there's a game up there where you can play this game, this big. I don't know what it is, some kind of a tractor game you can play up there, and there's a video booth where you can send a video email. There's also an internet hookup up there. There's laptops up there that you can get on the internet, and you can also go the back door and go down and get right in the queue, front of the line.
Great.
Pretty cool.
Next email is from Brad Groden of Mandeville, Louisiana. All right, hey guys, thanks a lot for putting together such a great podcast. As for my question, I decided to save you the embarrassment of reading my question too late by sending it in after my trip. While driving towards Disney World on the Turnpike, we were inundated by all these billboards for places like Yeehaw Junction. What is your opinion of these roadside ticket outlets? Is there anything of value to be gained at places like these?
I think Yeehaw says it all.
Yeah, I think the fact that you're asking this question, you know the answer to it, and that is that stay away. None of them seem worth stopping for, Len. What do you think? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the tickets is, when you're buying them, or when the companies are buying them from others, you really have no way of knowing how many days are left on the ticket. and that's difficult to it's difficult to put down that kind of money for those for tickets where you're not sure of what exactly it is you're getting. I wouldn't do it. It's just not worth the time.
Fair enough. Wait, Newell, do we have one time for one more question?
Sure.
What if it's for you?
That's the end of our show, folks. If you want to find our... No, get it.
That's right, Jimmy. Not answering your question because of Newell.
No, get it.
Next, the question is from Jimmy, a.k.a. Cajun King from Marrero, Louisiana, who writes, that's like the 4th Louisiana email we've gotten this show. I've been listening to some of the older episodes, and in episode 143, you guys had a question about some of the fur characters water skiing, and Len had said what she was referring to as a show called The Wonderful World of Water Ski Show, and that it was from the early 1970s and canceled in the 70s. I don't know if this was the subject has come up since then, but I have a picture of this from 1986, which was my first trip of Goofy on water skis. We saw him skiing in the lagoon while on the ferry going to Magic Kingdom from the TTC, so it probably was my first memory of Walt Disney World, but I don't think it was part of any show, as he was the only one out there. Love the show. Keep up the great work.
Cool. And that has to do with me...
I was just trying to fake you out there.
Oh.
You know.
I was getting all ready.
He's like waiting for it any second now. He's going to ask me what kind of music they played over there.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, let's wrap up close the email bucket for today. This episode of Walt Disney World Today has been brought to you by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner and the recommended travel planner for allears.net. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. So to get an obligation quote, just visit www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.